Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Leilani and today's video is going to be me trying out another palette that I hate. I did this video before with another palette and the look actually turned out nice. So I decided that I wanted to do the video again with another palette that I really do not like, and it is this Wet n Wild Rose in the Air palette. This palette is supposed to actually be a dupe for Anastasia. The color scheme is supposed to be similar to, I'm not sure which Anastasia palette, but it's supposed to be a dupe. But I have my own little gripes with this palette, but we'll get into that later. But before I do get into it, please go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up if you do enjoy it. Go ahead and comment down below what you think of the look that I created, what you think of this palette. Or they have other palettes with like the same setup. Like, what do you think of these palettes? Do you like them? Why do you like them? Or do you hate them just as much as I do? Go ahead and comment that down below, and go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I post every single Tuesday and every single Friday. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into this video. So while I'm priming my eyes, I might as well tell you a little bit of background about how I got this palette. So I was in Ulta. Whenever I'm in Ulta, I'm gonna do some damage. Like, I'm just gonna get something, and you know, most of the times I like the stuff that I get, and then there's some things that I just hate. And this is one of those products where I was like, why did I buy this? I had enough eyeshadow palettes. I got this and it ended up being trash. Or at least that's what I believe. I believe that it's garbage. I think that it's horrible. So I was in Ulta and I saw this palette and I saw like the other palettes, and I remember when the palettes dropped, and I remember that people kept saying, oh, they're dupe for Anastasia, they're dupe for Anastasia. And my first thought was, they're a dupe? Like, that would be so cool to like try out an Anastasia palette without actually having to try it out. In my opinion, they're just a dupe as far as the shades. And the shades are basic. Like, these shades are mad plain. Honestly, they're plain. So really, if I'm gonna look for an Anastasia dupe, I'm gonna look for a dupe as far as like formula, you know? This is not a dupe as far as formula. So I actually have another Anastasia palette right here. I have my Riviera palette, which I love and adore, and which is a great formula. The shimmers are just absolutely stunning. I love this palette. Then there's this one. You can even see the difference between the shimmers. Like, the shimmers are so different, but I'm gonna swatch the mattes just to give you an idea. So I'm gonna just swatch this like pinkish one right here, since it's the most colorful shade. Let me just swatch it. You see how, oh my goodness, it's so ugly. Okay, now I'm gonna swatch this Bahamas shade right here for you, just so you can see the difference between formula. Like, do you see the difference? And even when I was like putting these on my fingers to swatch, this one felt much more like chalky. Like, it's a very chalky palette. That's what I definitely like describe it as. It's so chalky, and I hate that. I hate how chalky it is. Like, I know that shadows are supposed to be, you know, powder, but this is just so chalky, and I hate it. And it's really hard to work with. If it's chalky, that means it's gonna be harder to build up, and I don't need that stress in my life. But anyways, we're gonna try it again and see if I can create something pretty with this palette, even though I really doubt that I can. Another thing that I really don't like about this palette is that there's only two shimmers, and they're very basic shimmers. So this one is just a champagne like gold, and then this one is just like a brown, sparkly brown. I just feel like they're so basic. Like, I feel like I see these shades in so many palettes that it's just, they're kind of, yeah. Anyways, I really don't know why I got this palette, to be honest, because it's just not calling my name in any sense. I'm kind of a crackhead. Okay, we're gonna just go ahead and get started. So first, I'm gonna go ahead and just take a brush like this, and I'm gonna go ahead and dip into this shade right here. If you watch any of my other videos, you know that I'm obsessed with color, and I like to do colorful like looks. So I really like just playing with color and having a little color in my eye. I think that's the fun thing about eyeshadow. So right now, I'm actually liking how it's going on my eye. What is going on? Am I a crackhead? I like how this is going on my eye. What's going on? I literally was just dragging this palette. Okay, we're just gonna keep going. This is looking nice on the eye. Like, do you see that? I think it looks nice. I think it looks like any other shade. But I remember, like, I hated this. Trust me, like, I did hate this. Like, it wasn't good. Why does this look good? Why does it look good? Maybe because I'm packing it. Because I think, like, when I tried it at first, I just tried to use it as like a normal palette and I just was kind of sweeping it. But here I'm kind of packing it more and it's giving me much more pigment. So I would suggest if you're going to use this palette, you should probably pack this shade at least. Because this is more of the colorful shade if you want that nice like cranberry reddish shade to come through. I really like this. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. Wait, I'm not sorry. I'm gonna keep going. Let's see if it brings me down. Okay, so next I'm gonna go ahead and take this orangish shade right here. Just gonna take it with this big fluffy brush and I'm gonna blend out the edges of that cranberry shade. Here's what that shade looks like blended. I don't know if I like how it's blending. I feel like in my mirror, it's looking a little muddy, but then on camera it looks fine. So I don't know, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm just trying to find something to hate because I don't want to look dumb for saying I hate this palette, but like I don't like it. Why does this look actually pretty? But what I will say is that it's like a basic palette. I will say that. Like, how much can you really do with these shades? Like, how many different looks can you do with this? And that's a big thing for me with palettes, is that I want to be able to be creative. And it seems like you can only do, you know, the only pop of color that you really have is this shade right here. And yeah, but as far as the look that I'm creating, I think it's pretty. So maybe I am a crackhead. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take a flat kind of fluffy brush like this, and I'm gonna go ahead and try to deepen up my outer corner with this shade right here. This shade I don't really like really cool toned browns like this, but it is what it is. The thing about this look is that it's really warm, so yeah, this is kind of grayish color, which I'm not the most fond of. I feel like if they had a chocolatey brown in here, it would be much, much nicer. Like it would take the whole palette like a step up, seriously, because I know that this is supposed to be a dupe, so I guess that they're copying Anastasia, but like this shade could just be a chocolate, like deep, like this brown. Oh my gosh, it would just elevate the whole palette, but it's not, so it kind of looks grayish with the other like warm shades. But I just wanted to add another shade so that I can, you know, use as many shades as possible in this look. All right, now I'm just gonna go ahead and take a flat brush and I'm gonna go ahead and use, actually I think I'm gonna use both the shimmers. So I'm gonna take the brown shimmer first, and I'm just gonna take that on like the outer corner and pack it where it meets the brown that I just put on the outer corner. Yeah, with this shade you really have to stamp it on to have it like show up. Maybe that's because it's just on another shade, but it's having a hard time like showing up. All right, and now I'm just gonna go ahead and take this champagne shade and I'm going to just put that all over my lid. So this champagne shade is actually really pretty. I definitely have this shade in another palette, like I know I do. Probably in like 3 other palettes. I'm gonna be honest, but it's still pretty. It's definitely more of a sparkly, like it's a shimmer. It's not like a metallic shimmer, and I'm more into more metallic shimmers, but this is still nice and pretty, especially for, you know, every day. This is a little softer than the shimmers that I usually use. So that's a plus. Like if you want more of an everyday palette, then this would be pretty. Yeah, so here is the look. I'm just gonna go ahead and look down. The one shade that, well, the two shades, I didn't really like these two browns right here. I think that this brown is just an ugly brown, but that's just me. And I don't think that this brown necessarily really works with the rest of the palette. The rest of the palette is kind of more warm, except for like these transitions, but I can't use these transitions. But like the rest of the palette is kind of warm, and then this shade is more cool toned, and I'm not sure why they would do that. Like if this is a dupe for Anastasia, I don't know why Anastasia would do that, because it just doesn't make sense to me as far as the rest of the palette is concerned. Unless, of course, I guess because this works for like, this works as far as like the cool tones, but I can't even use these. So I can really only use these shades or these shades right here. Like I can't, so I mean it just doesn't make sense for my eyes to have this there. And also this shade kind of just didn't show up. So I guess that these don't layer well on top of the mattes, which to me is like, you know, you should be able to layer on top of a matte. But the champagne shade is really pretty. The cranberry shade ended up being nice. I think that if you sweep it, it's not going to turn out as nice as if you just pack it and then you blend it with something else, which, I mean, for your preference, if you don't like that, then you might not like this palette. You might not like that shade. And as far as that orange, it turned out really nice blended with the cranberry. I think it's a really nice blend transition. So overall, not a bad look that I made. I'm gonna come back and finish off the rest of my eye look. I have a little more to do, and then I'll give you like my final thoughts about the palette. I still don't know if I can like approve this palette, so I will come back and then I'll show you how I do the rest of my eye look, and then yeah, so I'll be right back. All right, I am back, and I look a little different because I did my foundation and concealer and I baked and everything. So now I think I'm gonna try to use a lot of these shades. So I'm gonna try to use this shade right here. You can't even, okay, you can kind of see it right now. It's like a little like lavender purple shade. And I'm just going to put it under my eye, or at least try to. Let's see if it shows up. It's so powdery. Like every time I press it, I can literally see the powder like going into the air, and I hate that. Like it's just not pigmented enough for me. Okay, scratch that. We're not gonna use that shade because that shade's just not showing up, and it's, yeah. So instead I'm just gonna use this shade down here, really using every shade possible, so you can really get a good idea of this palette. Same thing with this shadow. As soon as I like press it, the powder particles start to just go into the air. This one is showing up, obviously. And yeah, the shade is showing up, which is a plus. Alright, so here is the look that I have this far. Now I'm not sure. I think that I'm going to try to put that purple shade into the inner corner instead. Just because maybe it'll show up in the inner corner instead of like under my black eyelashes. I'm going to take this brush right here. Take this purple shade. I never do a matte in the inner corner, but since there's no other shimmers, I guess I'm gonna do it. It doesn't look bad, but it's not really the pigment that I'd want. Alright, so that is it. Here is the finished eyeshadow look. You can just see right there what we're working with. Alright, so here are my feelings about this palette. Overall, this isn't my type of palette. I definitely don't really like it. I don't really vibe with it. I don't like the color story. I feel like first of all, if this shade was just a dark brown, I would like this a lot more. So I guess it's like one shade is like kind of breaking this whole palette. But in general, like this shade isn't very pigmented and the whole thing is so powdery, and I don't really like super powdery eyeshadows. I know that they're powder again, but you can tell like some eyeshadows swatch really creamy and these don't really do that. The mattes just are not calling me. Also, it only has 2 shimmers and the shimmers are so basic that it's like you can only create so many looks. Like really the shimmers are what like really makes a look, and these just aren't really doing it for me. And these 2 transition shades, like I really can't even touch them. Like I can't, what am I gonna do with these? And this shade right here. So it's really just about these shades, these 7 shades. And yeah, I don't know, I just don't really like it. This brown didn't perform as nicely as I would have liked it to. And yeah, it's just, to me, okay, for $5, and let's say that you're a beginner, you might like this because, you know, you're getting eyeshadow, it's cheap, and it works relatively well, I guess. But for me, I just don't like it. And yeah, even though this, I will admit that this shade and this shade really did show up for me, and I really like the combination of them together. I feel like I have these shades already, and it's just kind of like I have these shades in a better formula and I like how they look better. So why would I, you know, like why would I reach for this if I can reach for my other eyeshadow palettes that do this like 10 times better? And as far as it being a dupe for Anastasia, I think, in my personal opinion, that it's only a dupe as far as the shades, as far as just the color story. As far as the actual, you know, performance of the shadows, the Anastasia palette that I have performs way better than this. So if you're looking for like an actual dupe, I wouldn't say to pick these up because I don't think that they're dupes. But if you're just looking for like, you know, the same shades, I guess, then you could go for it. I mean, you could go for it. I just personally wouldn't. So that's just how I feel. I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my face, and then I will come back for final thoughts. And yeah, that'll be it. So I will be right back. Alright guys, so here is the finished look. I thought that this would go nicely with like a red lip, so I just put a red lip on. And yeah, here is the finished look. As far as this look goes, I actually do like it. I think it looks pretty. Do I think that I could make this look with other palettes that I have? Yes, indeed. I think I could. This palette is like $5. I have Makeup Revolution palettes that are $7, and they make basically the same eye looks, but just with better quality in my opinion. So I would suggest that if you're looking for like low end but good quality makeup, I would suggest to look at Makeup Revolution instead. This palette I think is good for beginners. I think that if you're a beginner or if you're someone who doesn't really care about like pigment and about making, you know, really just like more crazy looks the way that I like to make, I would suggest this palette. I think that this palette is like nice for like work or nice for school, or, you know, just if you want to dabble in makeup. I know that like every girl that I know, even if they're not into makeup the way that I am, they have like a makeup bag, and I would see this in a lot of girls collections if they just have like a bag of makeup, you know what I'm saying? I have a declutter coming up soon that I think I'm gonna film you know, in the coming weeks, and I think that this palette is gonna go, just because it's just like, it's not special and it doesn't give me anything, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like my palettes, most of my palettes, because they give me something. Like, they give me really beautiful shimmers or really amazing mattes, and they're colorful or something. This doesn't give me anything. This just gives me, like, I would never reach for this, is what I'm saying. Like, I have other palettes that I would reach for way before I would reach for this, and they give me the same effect and they give me the same look, but just with better quality shadows. And honestly, yeah, they would just give me a better look. Like, they would give me this look, but better. So as far as this palette, I still don't like it. It's not as bad as it was before from what I remember, but it's still not for me. So yeah, that's what I think. That is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Go ahead and comment down below what you think of the look that I created. Again, what you think of these palettes. Like, do you have one of these, you know, palettes? They have, like, I think like 4 or something like these or something like that. If you have one, go ahead and give it your little review down below. If you think that it's a dupe for Anastasia, tell me why. And anything like that, go ahead and comment that down below, and please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I post every single Tuesday and every single Friday. So thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.